Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because today we're diving into something wild. I came across this viral video of a woman on her 3-year wedding anniversary, and she is going off. Let's break this down together. Grab your popcorn because this is about to get real. Let's get into it.
So today is my 3-year wedding anniversary, and I can without a doubt say that this has been hands down the most depressing, miserable, horrible 3 years of my life. I have literally never been so depressed. I've never hated another person more than I hate the person that I married. While I run my ass off and I do everything for everybody in my life, like me, my kids, him, he goes to work and works enough. That's it. He works. Yeah, his job's hard. Yeah, his hours suck, but he works. That is all he does.
Okay, hold up. So we start off and she's saying this is the most miserable 3 years of her life. She's never been more depressed. She hates her husband. Now look, I get it. Marriage is hard. Relationships are tough. But right off the bat, she's talking about how she does everything. Homework, feeding kids, taking them to speech therapy, going to the bank, paying people to mow the yard. But wait, pause right there. She's paying people to mow the yard because he can't do it anymore. But then she says she doesn't work. So where's this money coming from? He's working. He's bringing in the income that's paying for the lawn service. That's the first thing that's not adding up for me. Like, I'm not saying her feelings aren't valid, but the math ain't mathin' yet. Let's keep watching.
I am in a different town because I had to take my kids to their football practice, and I asked him to watch our daughter, and you know what he did? He slept. He slept since he got home. What did I do? I did homework. I fed the kids. I took my son to speech. I went to the bank. I paid people to mow my yard because, he can't mow the yard anymore. I, like I said, made sure homework got done. I got them ready for football. I took them to football. I tried taking care of myself and went on a walk, but, when I started realizing I hadn't heard from him, I'm calling and begging for the bare minimum of him to watch our fucking daughter. Excuse my language. I'm just so upset. To watch our daughter, to cut up a watermelon, and to make dinner. I mean, that is absolutely bare minimum.
All right, so now she's saying he got home and just slept. He was supposed to watch their daughter. Now she mentions his job is hard and his hours suck. Okay, so dude is working a demanding job with terrible hours. Is he working nights? Is he working 12-hour shifts? We don't know. But she admits his job is hard. And here's what's getting me. She's listing all these things she did. Homework, feeding kids, speech therapy, the bank, arranging the lawn care, getting them ready for football, taking them to football, going on a walk. But isn't that what a stay-at-home parent does? Like, that's the job description. I'm not minimizing it. Being a stay-at-home parent is hard work. It's a full-time job, absolutely. But if he's working a difficult job with bad hours and she's handling the home and kids, isn't that the arrangement they agreed to? I'm just saying, if she's the one not working outside the home, then yeah, she's going to be doing more of the day-to-day child care and household management. That's not inequality. That's division of labor.
That's not asking for much. And it's not even today. Oh, so then when he realizes that he's almost running out of time and we're going to be home soon, he's like, oh, I can't because I don't have this. So you know what a normal person would do? They'd be like, oh, I don't have that. Let me go get it. But guess what? He has 30 minutes until everybody's going to be home. So he's just like, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to lay now because I waited so long and now I'm mad at myself. Now I'm just not going to do anything because F it. I am 30 years old and I'm literally begging for the bare minimum every single day.
Okay, now she's upset because he didn't cut up a watermelon and make dinner. She's calling him repeatedly. Here's my question. If his hours are so terrible and his job is so demanding, did he just get home from a long shift? Is he exhausted? She said he's been sleeping since he got home. And she says, he's almost running out of time. We're going to be home soon. Wait, so she left him home alone to rest, and now she's mad he didn't do stuff while she was gone? I'm confused about the timeline here. Like, did she give him a heads up about these tasks, or did she just expect him to read her mind? And here's the kicker. I am 30 years old, and I'm literally begging for the bare minimum every single day. But sis, you just said you don't work. So the bare minimum for him is going to a hard job with terrible hours and bringing home all the money that pays for everything. The house, the car, the food, the lawn service, everything. How are we not counting that?
I am a married single mom. That's what I am. Yeah, I don't work, but the amount of weight I carry, I have been applying for jobs. I mean, I can tell you right now, the reason women stay in shit relationships is one, because they don't have the means to leave financially, like a house. Two, the idea of a family. I can tell you why I've stayed. Money. It's that simple. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. He used to want me to be a stay-at-home mom. Now he just doesn't care because he doesn't care about anything. I shouldn't have to wake a 32-year-old man up for work. No matter what shift, first, second, third, I shouldn't have to wake him up for work. I shouldn't have to tell him what time to set an alarm if I can't wake him up. I shouldn't have to call or make people go wake him up. I shouldn't tell a grown man that he probably should shower after working all day.
Now we're getting somewhere. She admits it. Yeah, I don't work. But then she says she's carrying all this weight and applying for jobs. Okay, respect for that. But then she says the reason she stayed was money. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and he wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom too. So wait, they both agreed to this arrangement where he works and she stays home, but now she resents him for working. And she's mad that the consequence of not working is that she's financially dependent. But that was the choice they made together. And hold up, she says now he just doesn't care because he doesn't care about anything. Maybe he's depressed too. Maybe he's burnt out from being the sole financial provider for a family while being told he's not doing enough. Just a thought.
I shouldn't have to tell him to brush his teeth. I shouldn't have to tell him to feed his kids while he's taking care of them. I shouldn't have to tell him to watch his kids. I shouldn't have to tell him what to put the kids in when it comes to clothes. I shouldn't have to tell him where the clothes are. He doesn't even know my kids' teachers' names. I shouldn't have to manage his schedule and mine and my kids. I shouldn't have to tell him, hey, you need to refill your medicine. Hey, you need a doctor's appointment. Hey, you should probably get your oil changed. Hey, your brakes don't sound good. Not only tell him, but then I have to call and schedule that oil change because will he do it himself? No. Will he call himself? No. I am raising another kid. And so what's going to happen when I get my job? I am going to be doing everything that I'm doing on top of working now.
Okay, this is where I really need to push back. She's saying she has to wake him up for work. Tell him to shower. Tell him to brush his teeth. Feed his kids. Watch his kids. Tell him what clothes to put them in. She has to manage his doctor's appointments. Remind him to refill medicine. Schedule his oil changes. Here's my question. If this man is so incompetent that he can't wake himself up, doesn't shower, doesn't brush his teeth, can't feed his own children, can't manage any aspect of his life, how does he have a job? Let's be real. You cannot hold down a job with hard work and terrible hours if you don't have basic life skills. His boss isn't calling her to wake him up. His coworkers aren't telling him to shower. If he's showing up to work regularly enough to be the sole provider for a family of 5 or more, then he can function independently. He's choosing not to at home. Or she's micromanaging him so much that he's learned helplessness. And she says he doesn't know the kids' teachers' names. That's actually believable if he's working all the time and she handles all the school stuff. That's the division of labor again.
To tell a grown man if he can and can't buy something because he doesn't know how much money we have, because never in his life has he ever downloaded a banking app on his phone. Never has he ever looked at a pay stub. Never has he ever even looked at a bill to see what it costs. So yeah, he might make the money, but who carries the financial weight? Who carries the way to budget the money? Who makes the grocery list? Who makes sure we have food so we can eat food? Who makes sure he has this, that, and everything else? When all he gives a shit about is getting high and sleeping. Because you know what? If he's not high, he's not happy. I should not be begging a grown man for the bare minimum. Shouldn't have to deal with the anger outbursts, breaking my shit where my door won't even close, putting holes in my walls, threatening to kill me in front of my kids. The list could just go on and on.
Now here's where it gets interesting. She says he's never downloaded a banking app, never looked at a pay stub, never looked at a bill. But he's working and bringing home money. So she's managing all the finances, which again, if you're the stay-at-home partner, that often falls to you because you have the time to do it during the day. She says, who carries the financial weight? Girl, he does. He goes to work every day to earn that money. You carrying the mental load of budgeting is valid work, absolutely. But let's not pretend that making the money isn't carrying financial weight. And then, boom, here comes some real information. Anger outbursts, breaking doors, putting holes in walls, threatening to kill her in front of the kids? Okay, full stop. If that's true, that's abuse. That's domestic violence. That's not okay. That changes everything. But notice how she drops that in at the end, almost as an afterthought. Like, sis, if your husband is threatening your life, that should be the lead story, not the watermelon.
And yeah, I know I can leave because trust me, I am leaving. But people can't just walk out and leave one day when you have kids and 12 years of life wrapped up together. You gotta have a plan. You can't just walk away with nothing. You have to have a plan. My plan is in effect right now, but I just had a rant because I'm just baffled. I just don't want to spend another day like this. And I know I just got to get through a couple more days, couple more weeks. And then what? My kids lose their dad? When I quit forcing him to be one, when I quit forcing him to help, when he loses his job because he doesn't wake up himself, like I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just not fair. Happy 3-year anniversary to me. Happy 3 years of misery. I mean, I'm trying so hard not to be bitter, but like, I've just never disliked somebody so much that I should love, that I just don't. In sickness and health, better or worse, like, no. Like, so destroy myself and destroy my kids to keep a vow? Nope.
She says she's leaving. She has a plan. Good. If there's violence, if there are threats, if you're unsafe, yes, you need to leave and you need a plan to do it safely. I respect that. But then she says, my kids lose their dad when I quit forcing him to be one. Hold up. So you're forcing him to be a dad? That's not how that works. You can't force someone to parent. Either he wants to be involved or he doesn't. And she says when she stops forcing him to help, he'll lose his job because he doesn't wake up himself. But again, if he can't wake up himself, how has he kept his job this whole time? It doesn't make sense. She says it's not fair, and honestly, she's right that something isn't working, but I don't think she's being honest about the full picture. This feels very one-sided.
I'm going with this. I'm waiting to get my kids from football so I can go home to a fight that I already know I'm going to go home to. So I can figure out dinner at 8:30 at night and do showers and get everything ready for the next day to do it all over again. Moms literally cannot give up. You just can't give up because nobody else is going to pick up the pieces. Dads will check out. Dads will do this. Dads will do that. But as a mom, you literally cannot because you have to carry it. All right, I'm done ranting. I guess I should say what a perfect day to wear my Patterson Law shirt. Problems with your ex, call Rex. If you need a good lawyer, he's your guy. But don't worry, I'm not going to need a lawyer because he's not going to fight for anything because that's how little he cares, which good for me, but sad for my kids.
She ends with talking about how moms can't give up, dads will check out. And look, there's truth to the fact that women often carry more of the mental load in relationships. That's real. That's documented. But painting all dads as deadbeats who check out, that's not fair either. And then she shows she's wearing a divorce lawyer's t-shirt. Problems with your ex? Call Rex. Patterson Law. She says she won't need a lawyer because he won't fight for anything. Y'all, do y'all see what I see? She's wearing a divorce lawyer's promotional shirt while recording this rant on her anniversary. This feels planned. This feels performative. This feels like she's already decided, already has representation, and is building a narrative for court. Analysis and implications. Okay, so let's talk about what's really going on here, because this is deeper than just a frustrated wife venting. For the husband, if what she's saying is true about the violence and threats, he needs serious help. Therapy, anger management, potentially legal consequences. That's not okay under any circumstances. But if the other stuff is true about him being unable to function without her, how is he employed? Something doesn't add up. What's more likely? Either she's exaggerating his incompetence to build a case for why she's the victim. She's created a dynamic of learned helplessness where she micromanages everything and he's given up trying. Or he's actually struggling with depression, burnout, or other mental health issues from being the sole financial provider for a family while being told he's not doing enough. The implication for him? When she leaves, he's either going to sink or swim. My bet? He's going to be fine. He'll figure out how to wake himself up, feed himself, pay his bills, because he's been doing the most important thing all along, keeping a job that supports a family. That takes competence. For the woman, here's what I think is really happening. She's burnt out. She's tired of being home. She wants to work, but also wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. She's feeling the strain of financial dependence. All of that is valid. But instead of having honest conversations with her husband about redistributing labor, going to couples counseling, or making a plan together to transition back to work, she's built up this narrative where he's completely useless and she does everything. And firm tone, the implication for her, when she leaves and has to work and do all the household stuff and possibly pay for childcare, she's going to realize that having a partner who brings in income was actually a contribution, even if he wasn't doing the dishes. Reality is going to hit hard. What's going to happen? They're going to divorce. Based on that divorce lawyer shirt and her comments, it's already in motion. Here's my prediction. She's going to get the house and primary custody. That's how courts typically rule. He's going to have to pay child support. She's going to get a job and realize working and single parenting is harder than what she was doing. He's going to prove he can function independently, probably get his life together, maybe even thrive. She's going to realize he wasn't as useless as she made him out to be. The kids are going to be caught in the middle of two bitter parents. And here's the sad truth. If they had just communicated, gone to therapy, worked on their issues, maybe they could have saved it. But when you get to the point where you're recording rants on your anniversary, wearing your divorce lawyer's merch, it's over. The real issue. Look, I'm not saying she's lying about everything. I'm sure there are real issues. The violence claims are serious. And if true, she absolutely should leave. But the rest of it, it sounds like a woman who made a choice to stay home is now regretting that choice because of the financial dependence it created and is retroactively painting her husband as a villain to justify her exit. And you know what? She doesn't need to do that. You can leave a relationship just because you're unhappy. You don't have to make the other person into a monster. Just say, this isn't working for me anymore and go. But when you put it on social media like this, when you wear the lawyer shirt, when you build this narrative, you're not just venting. You're creating evidence. You're building a public case. And that feels manipulative to me. All right, fam, that's my take on this situation. Look, relationships are complicated. Marriage is hard. Parenting is exhausting. And sometimes people just aren't compatible, and that's okay. But can we please stop with the one-sided social media rants where one person is an angel and the other is a demon? Real life is more nuanced than that. Real relationships have two sides. And real solutions require both people taking accountability for their part. If you're in a relationship that's not working, communicate. Go to therapy. Make a plan together. And if you need to leave, especially if there's abuse, then leave. But don't trash your partner on social media. Don't build a narrative. Just do what you need to do for you and your kids. What do you think? Am I being too harsh? Do you think she's telling the whole truth? Let me know in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about this. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Hit that like button if you found this analysis interesting, even if you disagree with me. Share this with someone who needs to hear it.
And subscribe if you want more real talk about real situations, because we don't do surface level on this channel.